In today's episode, you find out if we can take this van from being camp bed and chaos to being the ultimate downhill racing dream build. After a consultation with Archie, we learned that his needs are actually very simple. 1, he needs a spacious bed to ensure that he has a comfy night's sleep so that he is prepared as possible for the race the next day. This bed can't just be a dead weight when he is not sleeping in it. It needs to provide storage for items such as wheel chocks, camp chairs and furniture. It also needs storage for bike tools, spares, food and all the stuff he needs to sustain himself while at the races. Looking into the rear of the van, you can see our taped off bed section as well as this clear space down the passenger side of the vehicle. Now, down the passenger side is where Archie keeps his bikes. Usually when he's racing, it's just his one downhill bike, although we have spaced the bed over to allow for 2 on the occasion that he does take his enduro bike as well. But let's run you through the plan for the bed. As you can see, it's taped down the middle into 2 sections. Now, we've done this so that the rear section of the bed can be built separately and is going to be a non-sliding fixed section. Without the need for sliding mechanisms, we can have a big storage box that isn't interrupted. So this is going to be used to house the bulk items that Archie needs to take with him. This then means that in the front sliding section, which will slide out to a full double width, we can house less bulky items such as his bluetti, his bags of changes of clothes, as well as his stuff he needs to access regularly, so cookware, food and those kind of things. Now we've got a good idea of what we're going to be doing for the bed, let's take some measurements, get into Fusion 360 and get designing.
7:30, don't you reckon?
The key with Fusion 360 is start simple. This allows you to focus on the critical dimensions of your model before worrying about features and utilities that you may add to them afterwards. Here you can see me adding features and hatches to access the storage areas.
Now we've got the main parameters of the rear section of the bed designed, I'm now going to hand this over to Dad so that he can do the final parts on it, like making sure the rear of it clears over the wheel arch and deciding where dividers for storage go. To do this, he's going to make some test cuts based off of ply kit measurements we have and implement them into the rear section of the bed. While he's doing this, I can take some measurements to the front section of the bed and start working on the idea for that.
Whilst taking measurements for the front section of bed, I've actually spotted a slight flaw in our plan, which I guess is why you take measurements time and time again, just so that you don't go ahead and build and then realise the problem when it's too late. Essentially, the issue I found is we were going to come right from our taped centre line where the parts of the bed split, all the way up to this front step here, but essentially what that's going to cause is up at the height we're going to be at, which is 5'50" tall, the slide out section of bed is actually going to foul the back of this seat, and these seats are the 2 passenger seats in the front of the vehicle, so they don't slide or tilt. So to combat that, we're actually going to bring it back slightly just to where this black ruler is, and that's going to give us the clearance to avoid this seat, as well as avoid the structural pillars up at the front of the vehicle there as well.
As I am busy measuring up for the front section of the bed, Dad is busy cutting his designed outline shape of the wheel arch on the CNC machine. Quick test fit, and sounds like he's happy.
Can he complain at that?
Dad's just called me out to the workshop. He's just finished cutting his test piece for the wheel arch. So this isn't actually going to get used in the van. It's literally just to test the shape so that we can implement that into the design for the bed. Essentially, it just eliminates any chance of us getting it wrong on the final piece, and then it's a bit annoying to change. So we always cut things that we're unsure of in scrap material first, and then we can translate that to our final piece. Now that's all good, I can implement that shape into the final design, ready to cut in the morning. I've just gone ahead and in Fusion 360, I've added the main sort of frame dimensions, or the outer dimensions if you will, of the front section of the bed. Now at this point, I'm going to stop filming. The part with the sliding mechanism is a little bit complicated to get your head round, so to allow myself to jump into that, I'm going to focus, stop filming, and I will show you when it is done. Let's jump ahead, finish the design of the bed so that we are all prepared, ready to cut tomorrow.
As I'm busy finishing up the design of the bed system, Dad cracks on with 3D scanning the window aperture panels so that we can design bespoke shaped slot wall panels to fit perfectly snug into those shapes. This method of working between 3D scan and then cutting templates enables us to do really precise work.
Now that we know our 3D scanned aperture panel fits nicely, I can go over into Fusion and adapt our slot wall pattern and shape onto this shape panel so that we have a slot wall ready to go in this van. We've come up against a slight bit of an issue with the insulation in that we thought it was going to compress back a bit easier, but when the panel is in place, it does sit the panel out into the van ever so slightly. So we've most definitely got some thinking to do there. Last night turned into quite a late night. Dad ended up having a bit of trouble with the 3D scans, but alas, we have got templates made for all of the window aperture panels where slot walls are going to be. I cracked on Fusion and adapted the slot wall patterns to fit them. I also lined up all of our parts for the main bed system. I got that all arranged onto cut sheets. Hang on, I'll show you now. So yeah, all arranged onto cut sheets, ready to cut. All toolpathed. So now we've got an absolute build mission ahead of us. So yeah, the next time you'll join us, we'll be ready to assemble all the parts.
Finally, the piece of every van build that feels so exciting. The pieces of the puzzle start to slot together. From sketch on a computer to taking shape in front of your eyes, it is a very rewarding feeling.
Now we have the main carcass of the rear bed section put together. Just got the top to put on, some supports which you can see the rebates for there, and the back as well. Just thought this is a good opportunity to show you. When you see me drilling through the side of the pieces, I'm not just drilling in random places. You may be able to see here that in the rebates there are pre-drilled holes that I draw on the CNC machine so that when it comes to assembly, all I've got to do is drill through the side into the end grain of the ply, and it gets me a really accurate and secure fixing.
If you're loving the Van Tracks channel and want to help support us, the best way you could do that is by going to the Van Tracks website and using code VTYT15 for 15% off of all Van Tracks products. Every single order means the world to us, as it enables us to push Van Tracks further and do bigger and better projects.
Dad and Mum have been finishing up the carpeting and beginning to install our slot wall panels. So rear one is on, passenger side is all in, carpeted, panel in. Same with the driver side, just got the rear panel to go in now. So let's get that buttoned up, and then I should have some extra hands with building the front bed box. Another part of the process, key to making the final product look really nicely finished, is adding chamfers. Now for this, we use a handheld router with a bottom bearing 45-degree chamfer bit, and we just run it around the edge of the parts, adding a small chamfer. They end up feeling a lot nicer in hand as it removes the sharp edge and revealing a bit of the white birch from beneath the hexa-like phenolic coating. Ends up making them look a little bit sharper and more defined as well. Got lots of chamfers to get on, all of the lids, and then once both boxes are built, I will go around the edges of those as well. So lots of chamfering to do, best get it done. Right, so chamfering, I have gone ahead with Dad and got the carcass of the front bed section assembled. Now we have moved on to the sliding drawer section. So there we have it, our sliding drawer bed extension section is complete. Now all we need to do is get it mounted up into the bed carcass itself and test the mechanism. There we have it, the sliding bed extension is now in the bed carcass. All works, ready to go. Slide it in, oh, slide it back out. It's kind of hard to do when it's not bolted down, but yeah, happy with that. Now we can get the tops of the bed on and get it test fitted in the van. Front bed module is now all complete and test fitted in the van. All that's left to do to get both these bed modules fixed in the vehicle and finished is mark down through our feet locations to put some wood certs in the floor. Once we've done that, I'll lift these back out, chamfer some of the edges, sand it all up, make sure it's all up to our standards and ready to go, and then fix them back in the vehicle, give the vehicle a nice clean through, and we are on the finishing straight. Something I never really explained was that obviously the front section of the bed slides out to be full width and the rear section has this clip-on module. That is because 99% of the time when Archie is away racing, he has just got one bike with him and that fits down the side here with this clip-on module on. Now, for the odd occasion that Archie does take two bikes and needs to just use the single part of the bed, he can lift this off and essentially just leave it at home or keep it somewhere else in the van and it won't be in the way. What this means by having this clip-on extension section is that we don't take up any additional depth in this storage cubby for the sliding mechanism like on the front section of the bed. So just enables a little bit more storage and doesn't cause any hindrance either, so it's a win-win. So there we have it, Archie's transformed MTB downhill racing rig. So obviously we've added the slide out and extendable bed system, slot walls with products and accessories throughout the van. I'll cut to some B-roll and show you some more close-ups of some of the storage features and the bed mechanism itself. But yeah, that has been the transformation. Hope you've enjoyed it. Like, subscribe for future builds just as sick as this one. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.